Hi, I'm the Moorlander and this is Moorlander EDC. Now today we have two lights that are very similar, but I think there's just enough difference between each of these to give merits to getting one over the other depending on which one is best for you. So today we are here to look at the Thrunite T1 and the Thrunite T1S. I'll try and keep these clear and not mixed up. So the one that's in my left hand here, this is the Thrunite T1, whereas the one here in my right hand, this is the T1S. I keep wanting to say TS1, I don't know why, I think that's because my head's broken, but if I say TS1, please understand that I'm referring to the T1S, and it's just been a long day. Now, as far as inside the boxes are concerned, what you'll find is that they are pretty much identical. So you get all of the usual stuff. In the bottom underneath here, you have your instructions. There is a little lanyard. There is a charge cable. There is some extra rubber O-seals. There is a clip. Now what I've done is I've put the clip on the T1 here, just in my head, because I'm trying to make sure that I remember which one's which without having to turn them around, so that I can see that this says T1 on it and this says T1S. So I put the clip on here, but the clip is identical with the other one, so they work in pretty much the same feature or the same manner. If you'll see from them, as far as the measurements or the sizes are concerned, they're pretty much identical. In fact, they are identical. As far as the size, it comes in at 69mm by 26mm at the head. Now, the extra width really here is down to the fact that where the button is here, and the button is here as well, it just protrudes ever so slightly. It makes it easier to index and find where that button is when you're wanting to turn it on and off. And then on the back as well, there is also the port here where the charger goes. So 26mm is its widest, 22mm is its thinnest. So when it comes down into the barrel of the light here, this is where it is at its thinnest. As far as markings on here, they're pretty much identical. You'll see that the knurling on the barrel on the T1 is slightly more knurled. I don't even know if that's the right word. Whereas on the T1S, it is just a little smooth around the side, and then you have this kind of larger knurling on there. They are both made from 6061 T6 aerospace aluminium. They're both roughly the same. I think there's maybe a gram or two's difference between the two, but they're both about roughly 45 grams each. A lot of that does come down to the T66, sorry, the 6061 T6 aluminium that does make them very light. As far as being powered, unscrew both of them. They both unscrew in exactly the same manner, so the head unit screws off rather than down on the tail, although I always forget and try and turn off the tail. They're both powered by one of Thrunite's. Now I say one of Thrunite, it's not a proprietary one. It's an 18350 battery that all 18350 batteries will fit into these, and they will all work. In fact, I could swap these over if I wanted to. As you expect with Thrunite, the engineering on them is great, and they have a very nice smooth closure when you're closing them off. Now, when you're closing them off to stop dust and debris in here, they've both been tested. So their IP rating is X8. X meaning, well, I suppose you've got dust and water. So dust hasn't been tested. The dust is the X, it's not been tested. Whereas for water, it has been tested, and it's an 8, which is the highest generally that you can get for consumer electronics like this. Now, I did mention the batteries on the inside, so I guess it would make sense if we talk about the chargers for each of these as well. Now, strictly speaking, the T1 is the older of the two, whereas the T1S is actually the newer upgraded model. So the T1 still uses, underneath this little port here. I think it's also great, so when you get one of these, I generally like it when companies do this. Although, you know, they all make them so that these little rubber ports don't come off. Every now and again they do. It's just the nature of the game. So you do get some extra little ports. But on the T1, it is one of the old school micro USB ports on there. Whereas on the T1S, it's one of the newer USB Type-Cs. Some of you might be put off by that, but let's face it. It's, what is it, it's 2023 and it's only now until the iPhones only just got round to using USB Type-C. There are a lot of micro USB chargers out there and cables out there. We all have probably hundreds of them sat around our house. And I think that the differences in some of the other things that we'll look at, if you can look past the micro USB on here, although yes, on paper when you look at them they are identical, I think the subtle differences is what we'll have a look at now. So the main ones being at the top at the business end. The T1 uses a plain glass or a plain lens in here and an orange peel reflector in there. So this is designed for flood. It's designed for all of the lumens, and with the T1 on its turbo mode you can get up to 1500 lumens from this. This is designed to give all those lumens as much spread to cover as much area as possible. Now with the T1S, rather than using a flat lens and a orange peel reflector in there, instead the T1S uses a TIR lens. So what the TIR lens does is, the way in which these are produced, they have a channel through the middle that helps to reflect that light forward. So you get less of a wider spread with the TIR lens. It's just a different way of being able to use the light. This one is mainly designed, or it works more as a wider floodlight. With the TS1, you still get some of that, but it's channeling that light forward, increasing the candela and how those lumens are used. Again, we'll have a look at how this works in the dark in a minute. But the maximum output from the T1S is actually 300 lumens less than this one. It comes in at roughly 1212 lumens. Now next up, let's have a quick look at the UI on these. So they're both operated by this button here. I'm just going to put that one down for a second. So with the T1, and actually for both of these you can do a long press, and that will put you onto the moonlight mode. Now you're not going to be able to see this now. The moonlight mode on here is or the firefly mode they call it, is 0.5 lumens. I can just see it against my hand. It's quite tricky to see. In fact, I can do the same on this one, and again, you know, 0.5 lumens is quite difficult to see in the daylight like this. They both have a fast option to get to the turbo. You can double click it and it will come onto turbo mode. The turbo mode on the T1 is 1500 lumens, and there is a kick down. It will drop down to 408 lumens after a few minutes. The normal modes as such, with the T1, the UI is slightly different. So what you have is you have its highest mode, which is 685 lumens, and then you have its lowest mode, which is 15 lumens. But instead of having steps of low, medium and high, you keep your finger down on the button and you'll see that it has a stepless increase, and when it gets to the top it will flash. Let's do it the opposite way. It goes down and it will flash at the bottom. It's very difficult to see when it's on its lowest, of course. So you get to decide where it is exactly how, or at least at what point you want to stop and go, right, okay, I'm happy with it here. But again, just slightly different way of using the lumens and using the UI on here. With the T1S, this uses more of, let's call this a traditional UI. So you can have your long press, that will put you onto moonlight mode or firefly mode, which is 0.5 lumens. You can do a double press, which will turn you onto your turbo, which on this one is 1212 lumens. Or if I put this on, so actually let's just So long press, so we started here, it's a long press, or at least this is on, and it's on low mode, which is 7 lumens. I can do a long press, which will turn it up to medium, which is 94 lumens, and then I can do another long press, which will then take it up to high, which is 407 lumens. If I then do another long press, it will then take me back down to the low mode, and then you can cycle through those. Both of these lights, you can do a triple press, and then that will take you on to the strobe mode as well. Again, oh, I forgot to mention, they've both got magnetic ends. And the magnets, I will say, and I will always say this with Thrunite, the magnets on their end, brilliant magnets. They don't scrimp on magnets. They are very good, and will definitely take the weight of this if you need to put it against something. There's so many lights out there that, yes, they have a magnet on the end, but when you try and stick it to something, it's not strong enough to actually hold the weight of the light itself. But yes, two very similar lights, but different enough that you've got some choice depending on what you prefer. Okay, so the sun's gone down. Now I am testing out a new camera, so I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you think of the video quality and also the audio from this as well, instead of using my mobile phone. Got a lot of fish jumping around tonight. Okay, so first up here we have, this is the T1, so you can do a long press. This is your half a lumen, very difficult to see, especially on a camera, but you know, there's just enough light if you're trying to find your essentials in your house. Or you can turn it on. Now with the T1, the difference with this one was the fact that rather than having steps for the different amounts of lumens, you can start off on the low here, keep your hand or finger down or thumb down, and you go up. It's more of a fluid movement, so you get to decide which luminosity. Oh, there's a bat flying around there. You get to decide which luminosity you want, whether you kind of just have to guess roughly where halfway is. At this moment in time, I have this on high, which is I forget what it was now, but you know, very easy to see that tree over there, very easy to see the tree over there, and also this bat that's flying around as well. But at any point you can do a double press, and then that will turn, oh sorry, here's your double press, and then that will turn it up onto the turbo mode, which is, oh, I can just see some tiny little fish in here as well. This will then turn it up into your turbo, which was 1500 lumens. So that's the T1. Let's have a quick look at the T1S. So similarly with this one, you can, while it's off, just trying to find the button in the dark, this is always good fun. Here's the button. You can do a long press. Here is your firefly mode, which is just half a lumen. Let's turn that off, and then when it's on, rather than then having a sliding system where it just goes up from low to high and you remove where you want to have it, with this one, so we're currently on low, which is quite a nice mode. There's still plenty of light I can see around on the floor. And this kind of goes back a little bit to what I was mentioning with the TIR lens. Hopefully you'll notice with this one, you can see that there's a very defined warm spot, whereas with the T1, that orange peel reflector did a very good job of forcing the light over a larger area. So we're currently on low. Do a long press, it will then take you up onto medium. We can see the reeds over there, little tree. Here's the tree there as well, looking off up into some of the shrubs here, and then down here as well. So this is the medium mode. Do another long press. Oh, I was on the wrong way. Oh, let's start again. Oh no, I went the right way. So we're on low, medium, and then high. High does a great job. Again, you know, it gives you just enough lumens, being able to see the trees over there. Obviously now with it being on high, these are a lot easier to see. Those reeds over there, a tree. Oh, now we've got the bat flying around again. And then you can also see the reeds there in the middle of the fishing pond. And then again, at any point, which I've just realised I've lost the button again, you can do a double press, and that will turn you up onto turbo mode. So now being able to see into the middle of the lake there, so much easier. Hopefully you can see we're now able to see on the far side, being able to see up into the canopy here as well. There's that tree, and then here those other trees, and so yeah. Now let me see if I can get these both out at the same time, because I did mention, so you will find with the so on the left hand side now, so this is the T1S and this is the T1. So it does have a little bit of a yellow kind of tinge to it. There's the T1S. There's the T1. I guess you could say it's definitely more of a natural light, more of a warm light compared to the T1S, which is definitely a cooler light. As I said at the beginning of this, I think there's just enough difference between those. Although, yes, the T1S is the new and improved, I guess, you know, this is the newer version of it. The main difference with that one being the fact that this now has the USB-C on there. But I think there's just as many merits for the original T1. I keep wanting to say TS1, but it's T1 and T1S. That if you're still okay with using micro USB on here, you're getting more lumens. There's a few extra features, or whether you prefer the nice, more warmer light of the Cree light, or if you're a die-hard, everything has to be new, yes, then the USB Type-C on here, you're getting less lumens from it. Maybe you prefer the TIR lens on there. Now, for me, personally, I prefer the T1S, but that's not because of things like USB Type-C, less lumens, that sort of stuff. Being a bit of a candela buff, the candela between the two isn't all that much different, but with the TIR lens on this, I much prefer a light that has a clearer beam. Again, that's not to say that this doesn't have a very clear beam, but the spread on this is more of a wider beam spotlight, wider beam floodlight that will flood everything up for you, whereas with this one, that warmer spot. But again, I think the difference between the two is good enough that it comes down to your own personal preference in which one you prefer to have. Plus, you can magnetize, if you get both of them, you can magnetize them both onto each other, turn them both on, and go all Darth Maul on everyone. Sorry, I am a child. Now, thank you to Thrunite again. I've worked with Thrunite over the last 3 or 4 years. Jess, we did have some fun with this one, didn't we? Trying to get... So one of these got lost in the post on the way out, which has meant that trying to make this content has been not necessarily a struggle or a challenge. It just took a little bit longer. Jess, you're a star. Thank you for having the patience with me and couriers and all of that sort of stuff. Yeah, you really are a star. So I will leave all of the links below so that you can see more from these lights and where you can pick them up. I'll also leave some of my social media links so that you can follow me here on Moorlander EDC and Moorlander Tactical. But for now, as always, stay safe, stay Moorlander, and stay EDC. Yeah. Oh. The joys of facial fuzz. Oh, sometimes, fellas, do you ever get those? It just constantly feels like it's in your mouth. It's like, get out of my mouth, you weirdo. Facial fuzz. Who'd have it? Well, a lot of men. Anyway, where were we? Have 2 wee beauties for you today. 2 lights that are generally. Come on. Hi, I'm the Moorlander, and this. Well, that's a point. Somebody mentioned the other day that this was in the last few months since I've not been doing my little shoot intro. Nobody's really noticed. Do people miss it? Should I bring it back? Should I do it just for special occasions? Maybe if you want to write into me with your birthdays, I'll do like shoot birthday things, or I don't know. People said that it was cringe, so I stopped doing it. But if you enjoyed it, if you actually thought that it was nice, then yeah, leave a comment below. Maybe I'll bring the shoot back. Yeah, don't know when this is going out. Might be going out Wednesday, but it might be coming out before then. A bit of a flurry, a bit of a flutter over the weekend. So yeah, whatever day it is, I hope you're all having a good day anyway. So yeah, see you soon.